What's going on, people? It's your boy Neeks back with some more transfer news, and again, this is about Tottenham Hotspurs, who have sold their playmaker, one of their best, if not their best player, in the last 5 years or so, in their best era of Premier League football, without a shadow of a doubt. Despite not winning any trophies, Christian Eriksen has been somewhat of a catalyst for all their, I guess, relative success. He has made his transfer to Inter Milan for 20 million euros, about 16 million pounds. And Antonio Conte's revolution over in Syria, full of ex-Premier League players, continues. Yes, Eriksen's gone. Eriksen has gone. A much protracted transfer out of Spurs, one that started in the summer. We knew that he actually wanted to leave probably about 18 months ago, and he hasn't had the greatest 18 months. His performances have really dipped for Spurs, and we know he wanted to go in the summer, wanted to go to Real Madrid. Real Madrid had other targets such as Hazard, for example. And that deal never really materialised. Man United were in for him, but their priority seems like was to keep Paul Pogba rather than make any midfield signings in the summer. I mean, I don't know why you can't do both, but it is what it is. And obviously they were looking at Bruno Fernandes in the summer as well, which they've now done pretty much so in January of 2020. So Christian Eriksen had to start the season at Spurs where he stated categorically he wanted to move. He wanted a new challenge, and that wasn't afforded to him. And he's really been in and out of the team under Pochettino, and then Mourinho. Under Mourinho, he's always been called upon, but he hasn't been starting. Mourinho's obviously joined the club knowing, and he spoke to Christian Eriksen, knew what he wanted, which was to move on. Got 6 months left on his contract. Of course, he could have negotiated with any club in the summer for a free transfer, but he wanted to move immediately, and therefore Mourinho hasn't been starting him. He's been obviously finding a team, a way of playing without Eriksen, expecting him to leave within a couple months of his arrival, but he's had to bring him off the bench to inspire Spurs on the pitch, which shows that the lack of depth in terms of the creativity that they have in their team. Of course, Lo Celso was brought in the summer. He's been very rarely used. He's been used more so in recent weeks by Mourinho. And upon the announcement of Eriksen's exit, it was announced that they have made his loan deal permanent from Real Betis. So I guess that is the technical replacement for Christian Eriksen. And they've also making a move for a PSV winger, attacker, playmaker, Steven Bergwijn from PSV. That deal looks like to happen anytime soon, but Eriksen has left. And I want to speak about more Antonio Conte, to be honest, because as I said, his revolution continues. He's picked up a lot of ex-Premier League players since he's joined, starting with Romelu Lukaku in the summer, for about 60 odd million pounds. Then he got Alexis Sanchez on loan, who hasn't really played due to injury. In January, he's picked up Ashley Young from Manchester United. Victor Moses on loan with an option to buy in the summer, and now Christian Eriksen. And I think it was DiMarzio, or is it Fabrizio Romano? They were on Sky Sports, and they were talking about the reasons why Conte is going after so many Premier League players. Obviously he feels like he's got unfinished business from the Premier League, so he's trying to rekindle those past glories of winning the title over here in England. But no, it's his training methods. His training methods are very, very intense. And as much as the Italian training is different, Ronaldo spoke about it, Lukaku spoke about it, it's very different to, other parts of Europe. Antonio Conte is a special breed, you might say. And his training is very, very intense. The amount of kilometers he wants his players to run just in training, let alone on the pitch, is phenomenal. And the way he works his teams and wants them to play on the pitch, in terms of running, is phenomenal as well. And he knows that because of the intensity of the Premier League, himself having managed there, those players, even though Eriksen is not necessarily that kind of player, but those players are much more adept to the rigours of what Antonio Conte wants in terms of fitness levels, energy, etc. So it'll be easier for him to implement that immediately. Of course, if he's building for a longer term, you know, you can gradually get your squad to that position. But Juventus have been dominating Italy 8 years, 8 titles in a row. And he feels right now they can be got at. They can, that the Serie A can be won this year. And he has pleaded and begged his board to say this is the moment. Strike whilst the iron is hot. Because Juve themselves are going through somewhat of a transition with Mauricio Sarri going in there. Ronaldo, of course, he's getting older, so he's not playing as many games. The squad is getting older. Let's be honest, but Blaise Matuidi, Higuain, the squad is getting older. And Antonio Conte thinks this is the time, because if they miss this opportunity, Juve will go and strengthen. If Juve don't achieve certain targets like Champions League, for example, in terms of winning it or getting very, very deep in the competition, they're going to make changes, whether that be managerial or in the playing staff. And you would think, I know Inter Milan's got money, but in terms of pulling power, Juve might still be ahead of them. They might still be ahead of them. Being in Milan and having the money available is a very, and Antonio Conte being the manager that he is, it's a very, it's a good, you know, it's attractive. It's an attractive proposition for potential players. But I think Juve are still clearing away the best team in Italy right now. So if you were to choose between the two, you're likely to go for Juventus. And I think Conte is not fearful of that, but wary that you cannot allow Juve to win this title when they're not at their best, and then go and strengthen and get even better. If Inter Milan are able to pick up the Serie A title, wrestle it back under their control, first time, since Jose back in 2010, I believe. If they're able to do that, that can really aid them in getting back to the top of the European game. Serie A has been going through a lot of problems recently, a lot. But if you have Juventus and then you have Inter Milan, both strong domestically and on the continent, and then you have the also range, you might say, in Roma, Napoli, you know, you hope that AC Milan can get back to some kind of competitive level soon. But if you have two, it's much more attractive, it's much more, puts more respect on the league when, you know, when you come out to face them in Champions Leagues, etc. So I think Antonio Conte knows, and that's why he's gone for a lot of experienced players. None of them are really young. Obviously, Lukaku's in his prime, Eriksen's in his prime, Ashley Young, Alexis Sanchez are over the hill but experienced, and Victor Moses is, you know, just he's in his prime / on the brink of over the hill, but he's experienced as well. They've done it. They've all won titles. Maybe Eriksen's won one when he was before he came to Spurs. He ain't won nothing at Spurs, but they've all won trophies or been in big situations, big tournaments, and performed at all levels. So he knows what he's getting. Some of them, the likes of Victor Moses, know what to expect from Antonio Conte, having won the league with him at Chelsea in 2017. So it's going to be an interesting second half of the season. Juve look like they're coming into their own, showing signs that they are the best team in Italy. The first half of the season was nip and tuck, and a bit more tuck than nip. Like they were chasing Inter going into the new year, and they've been able to edge back ahead, 3 points clear. They could have gone 6 if they beat Napoli on the weekend, which they didn't. Ronaldo's back on form, 12 goals in his last 8 appearances, leading the Golden Shoe, European Golden Shoe race as it stands. Sarri and I guess the players are kind of gelling more, knowing what they want and what they can get from each other. But for me, I keep saying, like, if Sarri's going to be serious and going to be successful at Juve, he needs to stop with this Higuain agenda, this Higuain romance that he's got going on. The guy's finished, the guy is done. Cannot be relied on to get the goals you need. Ronaldo is the best striker at the club. Dybala is the next best forward at the club. Ramsey in the number 10 position behind the two is the best way to go forward. If you play Higuain, you then force Ronaldo out wide and Dybala out wide, and you don't get the best out of your team. Drop Higuain, and then you can move forward. Inter Milan they're sniffing. And with these new acquisitions, 3 in this January, it revitalises everyone. When there's a bit of a dip, where's our next result going to come from? Or have we got enough to keep? But you bring in Ashley Young, you bring in Victor Moses, you bring in Eriksen. It adds another oomph to the team. Alexis Sanchez has been out for so long, he's going to be pretty much like a new signing. So Juve have to be wary. They have to be wary. I'm not going to lie. Champions League, Europa League. Inter dropped into Europa League. Conte may say, you know what? It's a competition we could try and aim for, but we can rest up because it's not the priority. We're going to finish in the top 2 positions. We're going to qualify for Champions League next year. Juve can't afford to rest up in the Champions League because that is a realistic aim and target for Sarri, Ronaldo and company. They want to be going for that. So they're going to have to go for Serie A and Champions League same time. Best team each game available. Inter are possibly able to rest up in European competition. Europa League is not a target. Winning Serie A this season, it will be massive for Conte, massive for Inter Milan, and massive for Serie A. So they have to take the opportunity. And Eriksen can be part of that. It will be somewhat of a dream come true for him to an extent. If he's left Spurs after, 4 or 5 years, nearly boys, men, getting to the semis and the finals and not being able to get over the line. And then after 6 months at Inter Milan, he wins a major domestic league. That would be something. And of course, they're in the semi-finals of the, the quarterfinals? No, quarterfinals, I think it is, of the Coppa Italia as well. I think they've got possibly Napoli in the next round. But so there's 2 opportunities for them to win trophy as well as the Europa League. So there's a lot to play for. Antonio Conte is not leaving anything to chance. He's not leaving anything to the gods. He's making sure that they have all the players, all the possibilities to them to make something successful of this season tangible at the end of the season. And the board are backing him importantly. And as a manager, you can have all the thoughts, ideas, but if you ain't got the players to execute it, it will fall dead in the water. And right now, it looks like Antonio Conte's got both. It's just about getting on that pitch and getting the results necessary. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Can Inter Milan overhaul Juventus to their first Serie A title in what must be about 10 years? Hit the like and subscribe button, guys, and I'll see you soon.